ましい。
こりゃ俺の棒かこの棒か好きな棒を選ばせてやるよ。俺に敵なんかいない。
Revenge. The action of hurting or harming someone in return for an injury or wrong suffered at their hands. Different people have different ways of getting revenge or dealing with the suffering caused by someone else to them. Some of them tolerate the wrong done to them, some of them forgive the wrongdoer, some of them actually forget that the thing ever happened, some of them try to forget it by indulging in sensory and or other pleasures, some of them use it as an excuse to blame the world and not do anything about the situation, and finally, there are those people who actually hurt others back in either a planned or spontaneous manner. But what's the best way to get revenge? Well, as the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist." So yes, this video is based on my own personal experience and my own opinions, so you can give yours in the comments down below with a good explanation so that we can all learn from each other. Getting back to the point, according to me, there's only one best way of getting revenge, and that is to keep improving yourself no matter what, despite how much people try to bring you down. So, throughout my life, I reacted to people doing unfair things to me in three main ways. Number 1, not doing anything about it. Number 2, getting back at that person. And number 3, improving myself. And I'm gonna be representing my happiness at different points of time on graphs for each of these cases to show you guys why I think that the third one's the best. 1.1. Complaining about and cursing that person in my mind. Here's what the graph looks like. As you can see, my happiness is mostly negative with some short bursts of happiness here and there when I actually felt good complaining about or cursing that person. So it's clear that this is one of the worst ways of dealing with people doing wrong things to me. 1.2. Hating on myself for it. Again, as you can see from the graph, my happiness is again mostly at a negative level with only some happiness in some cases, with a weird feeling of pleasure when hating on myself, but of course it goes down pretty quickly. So based on my experience, this is clearly the worst way of dealing with wrongdoing by others. 1.3. Forgetting about the thing. In this case, my happiness initially starts with 0 again due to the event, but then stays flat like a perfectly elastic demand curve, so basically I don't really feel anything about it. 1.4. Forgiving the person. This one has a lot of ups and downs, basically like a business cycle, because I do feel happy for a certain amount of time whenever I forgive someone, but then self-doubt, negativity, and past trauma of the event sets in, and I become less and less happier and think that I should have gotten the revenge. 1.5. Thinking of the whole thing as a joke. Now this one's a true business cycle with huge ups and downs due to different sides of my sense of humor and how I feel based on them. I know that this is ironic, but now that I think about it, it seems very hilarious to me. (2.1) Spontaneous one-time revenge. As you can see, in this one, there's an initial slump after the event, then I get back on the person and the happiness immediately peaks, but after that, it just falls down completely to 0 and remains at that level since I have no purpose of revenge afterwards and the whole thing just feels meaningless. 2.2 Spontaneous multiple times revenge. Yep, this one's basically like a business cycle again with multiple peaks and troughs, so I keep feeling both happy and sad during and after my revenge. 2.3 Planned one-time revenge. This one's kind of different because happiness is kind of sustainable while making the plan and trying to execute it, and then it falls down to 0 again after getting the revenge. 3.1 Improving myself as a revenge with extrinsic motivation. This one has a pretty good growth at the start, but then fluctuates again and again due to external dependence. Basically, wanting that person to notice the fact that I've improved. In the end, the happiness goes down here because the person whom I'm getting my revenge against simply doesn't care. And lastly, 3.2 Improving myself as a revenge with intrinsic motivation. As you can see, this one's not perfect either. especially in the short run, but in the long run, it has a more sustainable growth path despite all the fluctuations, especially when I reach the stage where I genuinely stop caring about improving myself in order to impress others and actually start doing it for myself. So, this one's clearly the best method of revenge. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, I didn't record each and every feeling of mine at each and every moment during the time periods of each of these types of revenge or dealing with the wrongdoings. It's just all of those are just general graphs. So yeah, they're not completely accurate, but I think that they're still pretty relevant as a rough estimate. Now, here are 5 key takeaways regarding improving oneself with intrinsic motivation as the best form of revenge. Number 1, freedom and liberty. You simply don't need to care about the other person anymore. Instead of wasting your time on thinking about that person, you can just work on improving yourself purely for yourself, which makes the process much faster and easier. Number 2, genuine improvement. When you focus only on improving yourself because you want to, it leads to the most genuine form of improvement. This can again help you get better and more sustainable returns. Number 3, sustained motivation. Of course, the motivation with this form of revenge is more sustainable and consistent, though it may not be as high as the other types of revenge, but it keeps growing slowly and reliably and makes you a much better and happier person in the long run. Number 4, external economies. In economics, we have this concept called external economies, which is usually used to measure the positive impact of production by one industry or firm, entity, or even an individual on others. Even in this case, when you genuinely don't care about getting any revenge and improve for the sake of yourself, you might just end up motivating others to do the same and might find some real friends for life who will help you even more in your self-improvement process and vice versa. Number 5, unexpected benefits. This one's the best part according to me. You can also get a lot of unexpected benefits when improving just for the sake of yourself, such as more people noticing you making improvements in unexpected areas or finding new areas where you can improve yourself, and even the wrongdoer admitting his or her fault and genuinely respecting you. For example, there's this girl who was a classmate of mine in high school who used to look down upon me and make fun of me when I was at my lowest possible level, and now in college we are somehow classmates again, and she actually respects me now, especially because of my improved grades and personality. Also, try not to actually expect these benefits to come quick, especially because then the word unexpected is gonna be meaningless. Exceptions: in extreme cases where you need to get revenge in order to protect your life. To conclude, purely based on my own experience and a few others whom I know, the best way to get revenge is by improving yourself with intrinsic motivation. It isn't the best solution for every situation, but it's the best that we got with the highest and most sustainable success rate. So yeah, thanks for watching.